This episode was recorded on riverside.fm. Log on today to start your own podcasting journey. A bit about the inception of SPL T20. I mean, it must have been a crazy journey. Where did it start?
Definitely, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's been one with a lot of ups and downs. It's been one where I would have to say that you have those motivators, the stuff that would push you. You have persons who try to keep you down. But it all started in, well, a few years before 2017, because 2017 was when we actually got started. But you know, having to play for Saint Lucia under 15, not finishing my under 19 level because I had to give up cricket. I had to give up cricket for the job. So when you have to make decisions like this, and you have Darren, Sammy, back then we played cricket together, and you hear, come on, let's go. But I have to work, and I worked at the airport, and I could remember clearly you have Stanford T20 happening. Seeing this and seeing persons going up there representing Saint Lucia, and I had to give up, something I loved for the job. You realize that things need to be different. We need to have sports, go into a different direction. So this type of journey that I went through, personal journey, it gave me the strength that I need to make a decision and to decide to push cricket in particular to be more professional.
Hello everybody, and welcome to a special episode of the Game Changers Hub podcast. My name is Quinn Seshis, and I have a special guest here today to have a conversation at a venue that is pretty appropriate for the conversation that we're about to have. But I will let my guest introduce himself first, and then you'll understand why. So, sir, introduce yourself to my audience.
Yes, my name is Hassan Euristee, and representing Saint Lucia T20 Premier League, CEO SPL T20. And I'm here. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for showing your support as well. And I would like to say thank you for all those who've made Saint Lucia T20 possible over the past nine years.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you said 9 years, 9 long years. It doesn't feel like that long time, but yeah. Tell me a little bit about the inception of SPL T20. I mean, it must have been a crazy journey. Where did it start?
Yes, definitely, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
It's been one with a lot of ups and downs. It's been one where I would have to say that you have those motivators, the stuff that would push you. You have persons who try to keep you down. But it all started in, well, a few years before 2017, because 2017 was when we actually got started. But, having to play for Saint Lucia under 15, not finishing my under 19 level because I had to give up, the cricket. I had to give up cricket for the job.
Okay.
So when you have to make decisions like this, and you have Darren, Sammy, back then we played cricket together, and you hear, come on, let's go. But, I have to work, and I worked at the airport, and I could remember clearly you have Stanford T20 happening. So seeing this and seeing persons going up there representing Saint Lucia, and I had to give up, something I loved for the job. You realize that we need to change things. You realize that things need to be different. We need to have sports, go into a different direction. So this type of journey that I went through, personal journey, it gave me the strength that I need to make a decision and to decide to push cricket in particular to be more professional.
Beautiful, beautiful. So then you got into cricket management or administration because you were a frustrated player, basically. Is that correct?
I would not say frustrated player, but you decide, like in cricket terms, you decide to give life a googly.
Okay.
With the spin bowling, because I was a spin bowler myself. Okay. But you decide to do something. As you could see with SPL and the signs, create a legacy. Decide to create a legacy. But most of all, I did it because of the love for the sport, and just to see that I can give something back. Because we all have our skills, we all have our ambition, we all have, our technical abilities, etc. But, if we don't take action, it's just a waste. So I saw that there was something that I could give. I had persons who laughed at me. I remember calling a gentleman and asking for 1,000 tickets. And he was telling me if it's 1,000 tickets for the whole tournament. And I told him, no, it's per game. And he was like, and the conversation just went on like this.
Yeah.
And up to now, well, that time I didn't get those tickets. I had to get it from someone else. But you have persons who would not see the dream. You would have persons who would not recognize it. But you have to be confident in yourself to push your dream because it's yours. And you need to make it become someone else's passion. It may not be their dream, but they need to become passionate. And that's where the SPL team was born. And we were able to pull off something like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm interested in where did your love affair with cricket begin? Your personal love affair with cricket begin before the SPL story started?
Well, back then, I mean, I'm from Viewfort.
Okay.
So I used to, my godfather time, always watching cricket. Brian Lara, I could recall running home from school. I lived close to the junior primary school that time, running home just to see him break that record during lunch break. And it's always been something part of me. I used to go outside, play with those, a bat and a stick on a stone and hit the neighbor window and run, So it's always been part of me. I always used to create games. So I would be home and me hitting the ball and stuff. It would actually be two teams playing. Right. Some persons may say I was crazy, right? But I would have that competitive spirit. I organize games at the school level, in class level.
Wow.
I used to have the girls cricket within the classrooms. I moved over to St. Mary's College and I did the same thing, have inter-classroom tournaments myself. So I didn't realize it till going through with SPL that I had this in me all along, having organized games, then to mini tournaments within the school itself, and not anything official. It was just me. And I guess it was just a journey that was always part of me. And you begin to see it after you see certain results. And just looking back at it and just telling you this story, I realized, it has been part of me all along.
Beautiful. So, okay, so you fell in love with cricket from an early age. Then you developed that love. You actually played cricket for Saint Lucia at the under 15 level. And then your journey as an athlete would have stopped at the under 19 level. And then something told you that it's the right time to start this. But where did you see the business part of this? Because it's one thing to feel like, okay, we need to do something for these
Yes.
athletes. But then, I mean, if it's not profitable, then it's not a business. So where did you see the business part of this come in?
Yes, to be honest, the business part was always at the back.
Okay.
Because if I had to look at the business part, it will never happen. If you look at the business part, you tend to look at figures a little too closely. Now, this is not going to tell somebody this is what to do. This is not the conventional way.
Right.
You need to know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
But you see, when you have a passion for something, it's automatic that the figures, they don't matter to you. You don't look at them. Because the story of SPL and how it's grown, it's just strange, all right? I had a word with persons like Darren Sami, Johnson Charles, Gary Mathre, Jason James, my business associate, Brian Calix, who was part of cricket operations back then. Persons who were part of cricket, because you cannot do this on your own. You need to have pick persons' brains and to make it happen. And speaking with them and saying, I want this to happen. I had another project that I tried. Again, person laughed at me. I gave it a break and I decided to focus on SPL, which came through. So, you decide, okay, you know what? Let's give it a go. 2017, we had our tournament in September. Okay, not the best time of year.
No.
We were in Soufrière. And persons, that was, persons would tell you, that was the best decision ever when it comes to SPL to go ahead and have it. Now, what I mean by go ahead and have it, when we decided to put that first post that we're going to have semi-professional cricket in St. Lucia, I made a phone call to Brian and I said, you know what? Let's do it. We cannot wait another year. And he's like, okay. So I'm like, yeah, let's just do it. So create the page, everything, the first post. Semi-professional cricket coming to Saint Lucia, and let me tell you,
Went viral.
it went viral. And I'm like, Brian, you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
We have to do it.
Yeah.
You see, because if you don't jump all in and you just decide, let me just put 1 foot in, that 1 foot in thing does not work because you can always take it out. So you jump right in, and we had no choice. Basically, we had no choice. The players were excited, and once you get the players excited about something, you can't back down. So we started it with our investment being just a Facebook ad. right? No major investment initially to say, you know, it's a business we're getting going,
Right.
you know. So we just made that decision, and the rest is history.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so with you for our first commercial break, we will speak a little bit more about the investment that went into it, because we know that sponsorship is very important for something like this. So we'll speak a little bit more about this after the break. You spend months planning for the perfect event. You have great guests, you have great speakers, and the event is a success. But in 24 hours, it's gone. But what if it doesn't have to be? Introducing Event Voices by Game Changers. We shoot a live podcast episode at your event, turning your speakers into content. We blend our production quality with your event. Your speakers plus our production quality and distribution equals more leads for everybody. For more information on how you can transform your event into something game-changing, contact us via the information on the screen. Welcome back to the Game Changers Hub podcast, and we have Mr. Euristee here. And just before the break, Hassan, we were speaking about the development of the SPL. But in the very early days, how did you get that investment, that actual sponsorship backing? Because you did say that you invested in a Facebook ad, but I mean, a Facebook ad can only take you so far. So how did you get that early investment into the SPL?
Yes, so we started off with that, and with any business you need investment.
Yes.
So what we had to do now is to sell the dream, okay? And the person that could have sold that dream best right at that point was myself.
Okay.
So I had to go meet with certain persons, and you see, once they saw the vision, and you had the partners coming on board. When I say partners, you have the team owners, the franchises, or you have the credit unions who came on board, etc. We Choiseul Credit Union, one of the, persons know the craft masters for the fan base, the excitement.
Yes.
They were not on board the first year. That was something done after. So it was step by step, getting persons on. And once you get one on board, sometimes these same businesses, they sell your dream for you because they are part of it. You don't want to just push your dream onto persons. You want them to be a part of it. You want them to understand, because it's not just about being a part of it for your benefit. How does it benefit them?
Right.
And if you realize throughout the years, we've had persons who've been with us, been there, and they do share that vision. They do share the fact that, it's important to give back to the community. They share the fact that it's important to give our youngsters the opportunity to see sports as a career and not just a hobby. When you look at what we have currently when it comes to cricket, CPL, and to be able to create something similar, with its own bit of a difference here and there, because, when you do something, you also need to show that you're a little different. But you have something that works, you see what it is, and everyone is like, oh, can this work? Once you do it the first year, it's like clockwork, but it was very important to meet with the stakeholders. We met now with the sponsors. Now we'll come on board as just sponsors of the tournament. And, once you get one, once you get two, and the important thing is to show them that it worked the first time. So from your dream, selling that plan, understanding that it's not just about what you want, but how can it benefit persons. And when you show them that it worked, you just have to keep at it and keep with the momentum. And that's where we are at.
Beautiful, beautiful. So they saw that it was something viable, because businesses will not invest in something that they don't think would get them gains. But I think because you led with passion and you led with the desire, and you led with, hey, this is something that I have in my head. I need your backing, I need your support, I need your additional vision as well, because I know, like, your sponsors would have needed to give their own insight, because you might have to change certain things to appease them from time to time. That's just the reality of these things. So I'm saying that because you had that initial vision, they bought into that vision and they built it into what it is today.
Definitely, you're correct. It's always important to get the feedback. always important, like I did initially, to pick brains, and those persons who are involved, whether it be our stakeholders, they have some brilliant ideas. So you work with these ideas, you work with them, and you put it into action. You know, I mean, SPL is I mean, when you look at where we started, just a thought, to where we are right now with greater investment and more persons seeing the vision, government coming on board, increasing those salaries. I mean, think about it. We had an attraction when the salary was 3 times less, you know. So far less for now. Why? It's because of the vision. You know, when you have persons like Andre Fletcher coming down for nothing, next to nothing back then in 2017, 2018, even COVID year 2020, when we did not have, and this is why we've had 9 years, however, it's our 6th edition because we had a break. And you had players who were supposed to come down like the Dwayne Smith, the Linda Simmons, all those persons were in negotiation with teams, Raheem Cornwall. So it's definitely a tournament that had the appeal, and far less for now. The only thing now is there's the more money. We could see the audience in the north. It's growing. The fan base is growing. And what persons, when they come to the games, what we look to do as a team, our team look to ensure that it's a production. All right. I always tell them that it's a production. We're not just a tournament where you just have a tournament and there's a prize money and that's it, or you just have a game of cricket being played. When persons come, they feel a bit different. You know, the players feel a bit different playing on the day. The fans give them that energy, and we have many persons looking online. You know, persons used to tell me, hey, why don't you just not have an online presence so more persons will come to the game? And this brings me back to the business part. If I had to think about that at first, I would say, you know, let me make a quick money. Let me have the bars. I will run the bars. You know, look at all ways just to make the money. It's important to make the money, don't get me wrong, but you see, the vision of SPL is not fully to just go ahead and make the money, but to ensure that the product is what it is. The other things will fall in place. So when you come to the game, you realize there are the vendors, they make their money. You realize that, you know, online viewership is growing. You have our fan base. Our Facebook page has, what, 26,000 followers?
Wow.
I mean, thank God for persons like, you know, Darren, who promoted us that first year. You have a lot of persons from our biggest audiences from Asia.
Yes, India. I've seen a lot of the Indians on the live. Yeah.
So, and once we have persons, our growth we know our fan base in the south, and that's where the tournament was initially. Most of the games were in the south. I remember the days, and Fletcher said the same thing when he came back then, and we had open games, 2 open games in the north, grocery. Persons didn't have to pay, and you'd see probably very few fans coming to see. But it didn't say anything much because we know our fan base was in the south. When things changed and we started to move the games to the north, we had to come with a different plan because there we have to actually market and work it. And it's nice to see that, you know, you have the thousands watching online and you have the hundreds coming to see the games. And soon, you know, the whole thing is for persons not just to come to see SPL, but persons need to come to support their team. You know, like we go and see the Kings, right? Persons don't really go to CPL; they go to watch the Kings. So we have a mix of, you come into SPL, you see we have those SPL shirts now, the fan shirts, etc. But we also mix it up with come and support your team, because it's very important to be behind your team and support the cause.
Beautiful, beautiful. So it has been a journey, clearly. And then we've seen the additional investment from commercial entities. But how important has the likes of, like you said, Darren Sami, but the players themselves, how important have they been in promoting the brand? I spoke to Andre Fletcher when I met him at the ground at one of the games, and he was saying that the quality of cricket he believes is very good. Obviously, they're not at the top tier level yet, but he believes that it's very good, and this is an opportunity for them to grow and flourish. So how important have the players themselves been in the development of the league?
Yeah, the players have always been important, like the fans are. These are key aspects of the league, you know. They feed off each other, all right? Players, their excitement, it brings joy to me when you see those players are excited. It also makes me feel of course, the opposite when I see that some don't appreciate. There's always good to point out the good. It's good also to point out what's bad so that it can be worked on. And we have players who have a lot of passion. We have players who have a lot to work on outside of cricket. And it's important, after this tournament, we sit down, we have a few workshops planning to help the players develop as a person. As a person, it's very important for you to build yourself.
Right.
Yes, you play cricket, but you need to build yourself. So assist them when it comes to interviews, assist them when it comes to just carrying themselves, because you represent a brand especially during SPL. You represent not just brand SPL, but brand you. You have scouts looking at you. So just hearing their feedback, it's important, but they also need to appreciate what is given to them. It's not just about the money, but it is about the money. Like I always say, when persons say, oh, those guys not playing for pride anymore. But we need to understand things have changed, okay?
That's the reality.
Things have changed. I mean, you want to have persons who play for pride,
yes,
but you have to mix it up. The pride comes with, hey, what can it offer me? Can I make a career? Can I feed my family? And when you have an opportunity like what SPL has done, the worst thing I want to hear someone say right now is, hey, I want them to increase the salary. I mean, this increase is something that's gone beyond what you expect. So I'm not saying that, it's good to have increases. It's always good. However, before you do that, you need to appreciate what you're getting. You need to use what you're getting the right way. And I think that they play a very important part in the league, because they are the players. And I mean, we need them out there to be playing.
For sure. All right, so we're due for our second commercial break, and we'll be back with Hassan Euristee right after this.
What if I told you I made all this with just Capcut? My name's Lionel Eton. I'm a professional filmmaker and an AI filmmaking pioneer. I grew up loving movies and TV, but I joined the Coast Guard out of high school and I got stationed in Alaska. Hollywood couldn't have felt further away, but I kept pursuing my filmmaking dreams. Then I discovered AI. 2 years ago, I created my first AI film using Capcut, and my career took off. I started Film Crux to help close the gap between indie filmmakers and Hollywood, so that people's only limitation was their own creativity and imagination. Essential to that is using Capcut because it's so versatile. So everything from being able to retouch humans, AI transcriptions, to tracking, to background removal with AI, it's all possible. You're no longer limited by your resources, and instead you can create something that's really as close to what you had in that initial spark of your vision. With Capcut, I get to live in the worlds that I imagine, and I get to bring you with me.
Hello, Game Changers. Over the years, you guys have consistently expressed how happy and how interested you are in the caliber of guests we feature on Game Changers. Well, now we're going to take it to the next level. These very same guests will now be instructors in an exclusive community, giving their insights and ideas to transform the game for your own business. We are launching 2 communities. The first of which is called Your Next Move. This is for entrepreneurs looking not just to make their enterprises profitable, but also to make it transformative. The second one is the Creatives Hub. This is for creatives looking to transform their art through the insights of practitioners who have been there before. This is not for everybody. It's only for those who are looking to transform their lives and truly elevate the game. So, if you're interested, follow Game Changers via the link to our Patreon today. So we're back with Hassan Euristee. This has been a really eye-opening conversation, Hassan, I must say. And I've learned a lot about SPL. But I want to also ask you, we want this tournament to become massive. And I'm saying we, because it's not just you. I also am a sports journalist by profession. And I'm also a fan of cricket. I'm a fan of Saint Lucia in general. So I want this tournament to blossom. But before it gets there, what has your marketing strategy been to get this tournament within the region, the wider region first, and then before we go wider than the region? How have you reached out to, regional players and regional partners to grow this tournament? Because we know we have other smaller leagues outside of the CPL where the players can go to participate. So how have you worked with those regional partners in this now competitive regional environment?
Yes. and before I just answer your question, it's a very important role that the media is there to play. Very important role, even our vendors, the persons who clean the stadium after. Everyone plays their part. The umpires, the commentators, because word of mouth is powerful.
Right.
Persons talk about ads. It's important. It's very important. Don't get me wrong, but word of mouth is very important. We encourage persons to spread the word. But marketing has been something that, in terms of SPL, I think this year has been our biggest year marketing. To market, apart from word of mouth, you need some money. And we were able to, do some good marketing. Our marketing team has done a really good job this season with the little time that they had. Okay, so I can imagine what next year will be with having a full year to prepare and to market the tournament. But like you said, there are options, but we must also commend Saint Lucia. I mean, we SPL and the team, we created the first semi-professional tournament, sports tournament, whether it be cricket, football, etc.,
wow,
in the OECS.
Wow.
So in 2017 when we came, so we actually were the first ones. Then you had the other leagues coming through. You had Antigua coming through, etc. After. And I had some words with the gentleman who has the other leagues in the north. He also wanted to do a Champions League format.
Right.
These things that can happen. If it was just for me alone, they happen.
Yeah.
But you have to go through certain procedures. But it's nice to see that the league is being seen out there, not just regionally but overseas. Back then in 2018, we had words with the Saint Lucia Kings. I mean, they were probably stars at that time.
Yes.
But we had some words with them whether they were actually looking at using the tournament for a stepping stone.
Yeah.
We've not had much of that talk since then, but we know that they're watching.
Of course.
We know that there's talent out there. The point is to have that stepping stone leading up to, the CPLs, the IPLs, etc. Persons tell me, hey, SPL is like one of the big ones. What we want to see is, it's good that people see it, but we know, at the end of the day, we know where we're at. We know what we need to work on. And the goal for us is to feed those leagues, to give those persons the opportunity to come here, showcase their talent. Because, some players don't have the opportunity. Some players, when you see them here, you realize, wow, we have some good players out there. Why isn't this player on the national team? Why isn't this player? Of course, there are other things, other factors apart from their performance that may affect their selection. Yeah. But you see players and it gives persons an opportunity. And it's nice to see the likes of Shadrach, Akeem, Noel, Leo back here with us, who missed majority of the tournament because they're out with the windwards. Yes. And that's the thing, to see players move on. Yes, you may miss them because maybe they have the other tournaments during SPL, but it just brings this joy because we have some coaches who really play a big part in getting those players together. And all of this helps with our marketing, just being able to give a proper product, something a little different, have a team that is willing to go the extra mile, have the backing of our stakeholders like the government of Saint Lucia, national lotteries, and our private sector assisting. And all of this is very important to show them that you have a good product. And once you have a good product and you get it into persons' faces, then, the sky is the limit.
Beautiful. Now going forward, we're looking forward into the future. Let's say 5-10 years from now, what does game-changing success look like for the SPL T20?
Yes, so it's interesting that you asked me that, and we're coming up to 10 years next year, and seeing where we were to where we are. I have some powerful persons around me in terms of what we did, and in terms of the books that we read and the books that we read, and the type of positive persons. Right. And when you have How to Win Friends and Influence People,
big book.
Big books, So you have different things that help you in life. And I have something, I was taught that to have a daily affirmation. Yes. And every year I change that affirmation. And since I've been doing it, I've been hitting it every year. Wow. I've been hitting the challenges, which, you hope you don't get, but you'll always get challenges. It's how you deal with it. Based on the person that you are, you just deal with them differently, but hitting those targets. And the thing about those targets. You have your small targets, your medium, and your greater targets. 10 years is, of course, a bigger range to hit. And seeing where we were to where we are and the many things that have changed, at the end of the day, there's no limit to my thinking. SPL, like I tell persons, every year is just going to get better once we have the backing. The backing is very important. We cannot do this on our own.
For sure not.
And I know this is why persons are continuing this journey with me, because they know it's not about me.
Yes.
Okay? It's about the product. It's about what it can give to different aspects, whether it be tourism, whether it be the players, whether it be the fans, the communities. I mean, the Airbnbs that were filled in Choiseul, Soufrière, I mean, during our weekend in Choiseul, says a lot. The league is definitely bringing much more than just cricket.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, we plan to get more persons to the games. Having to come to a game and you realize it's full, right? Because we have our different challenges. We have stuff that we want to see different. We have stuff that we want to clean up on our whole production, live broadcast, etc. And you know, some of it involves having more money.
For sure.
Some of it involves just putting in more work, more time. And when we look the same way we see SPL now, and we, you know, persons who've been there since 2017 and realize, wow, in 10 years' time, that's what we want to hear. Wow. Right? And wow just goes to show you, well, this is a positive wow, that is.
For sure.
And to see that, you know, wow, this league is definitely touching lives. That's the important thing. You know, people talk about growth and stuff. You need it, whether it be business growth, whether it be growth as a tournament, we want it. But we want to know that we continue to touch more lives. We'll continue to hear persons say, not just say, wow, this is great, but we'll continue to hear persons say, you know, oh, you all need to do this, you all need to do that, you know. But guys, I must say, because those persons who criticize, you must always hear to see if they're going to come with something good after.
A solution.
Yes, because, you know, it's all well to get the persons who only give you positive, but there are persons who actually argue or say, or they look for all the things that are wrong.
Yeah.
But when they speak with you and they start to understand, or they just come and say, you know, apart from all of this, I must say this is awesome.
Right.
It's important to get both sides.
Yes.
You don't want to keep negative with you, but you want to understand and try to understand where they come from. Because persons ask me, but why you even take this on and listen to this person and hear what they say? I say, well, they say it for a reason. You know?
Feedback is good.
Yeah, it's good. You know, persons say, oh, no re-entry, you know, for what? You know, and then you have to understand where they're coming from. Is it something you need to do? Is it something you need to fix? You know, you have to do that, because when I come to the games, I mean, persons tell me, you look so tired, you look so I am, you know, and sometimes you see like, okay, I'm there and I have nothing doing, but I have a lot doing. It's mental. And the greatest thing is to be there at some point and just realize that the team is so good.
Yes.
That I don't have to be, I remember the first 2-3 years of SPL, I had to be running everywhere because I had to make sure everything's done no matter what. If you don't do it, I do it.
Yes.
Now the team, I mean, I still have the same mentality, but the team, they cover up for each other so well that if A doesn't do it, B will do it. So before it even gets to me, you know. So at the end of the day, the team is important, and to have the team like what we have, I know that the future is great. To have the sponsors that we have, the partners that we have, I know that the future is great. To see the talent that we have, to see the passions from the fans, I know the future is great. So at the end of the day, the challenges will come. We just have to face it and take it from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Hassan, I really love this conversation. I enjoyed learning it, not just as a fan of cricket myself, but as a fan, like I said, of Saint Lucia, a fan of the development of young people, because most of the young men who are participating there are actually within the range that you find, unfortunately, we find these people getting involved in crimes and those type of things. But they're doing something very positive here. So they're not just impacting their pockets, but they're also impacting their lives as well. And you also spoke about the economic impact. When SPL comes to communities, like you said, Choiseul, not just Choiseul, but even maybe Soufrière, neighboring Soufrière gets impacted economically when it's in Groseille, when it's in Castries at the Mindo Philip Park. There is so much economic activity that is possible, and SPL is doing that, just like the football semi-professional league as well. But for sure, SPL is doing that. I'm very happy about it. And this platform for sure will be willing and able to support in any way possible. So Antu, thank you so much for what you have done. And I trust that you will continue on this path.
Yes, definitely. You must have a reason in whatever you do. Your reason will vary from other persons. My reason for a lot of things I do is my mom, who's been there for me, who's done a lot for me. And, you have to have a reason. You have to, the close persons to you, it could be someone, or if you don't have a dream, have a nightmare, what you don't want.
To run away from.
Exactly. So, I mean, I believe that, you on course to do well. It's just up to you. I won't give you the good news. It's you to create it.
Yes.
And once you believe it and you could make it happen, what you're doing is very good. Just keep it up. And everybody out there who has the talent, go at it. If it doesn't work, go at it again, because you only gonna stop when you stop.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're almost at the end of the conversation, but before we officially end, we want to give you guys an opportunity. Unfortunately, this is only open to the Saint Lucian Game Changers. I know this is an original podcast, but we cannot give this opportunity to you guys. But we do want to give away 2 tickets to the SPL final. What date it is? Is it, Hassan?
23rd
All right.
Of May. Yes.
All right. So we want to give 2 tickets away to the SPL finals on the 23rd of May. But you have to answer a question. The question is, who won the first SPL tournament? Again, who won the first SPL tournament? Please leave your answer down below. The first person who gets it correct will get 2 tickets to the SPL final. Anyhow, Hassan, this was an amazing interview, and to thank you so much for the conversation, bro. Thank you for agreeing to be here. I know you're tired. I know you're always tired, but you took time out of your busy schedule, and I don't take that for granted. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Beautiful. All right, guys. This has been another Game Changers episode. Remember to like and subscribe. Game Changers is available wherever you get your podcast. And also, remember to follow the SPL, right? This is an amazing tournament. The cricket is good, and also the entertainment and fun is good as well. Anyhow, like I said, this has been another special episode, and until next time, stay hungry. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.